Hi everybody, I'm Irene Siegel. For those of you that have seen me talk before, you know that I'm a psychotherapist and I also teach meditation and healing. I've been very fortunate in my life to work with shamanic teachers and healers in South America and through North America, and I've learned a lot about the philosophy and the cycles of the planet. One of the things I learned early on was about the Mayans and their prediction based on the Mayan calendar. Over 2,000 years ago, they knew that at the end of 2012, it was going to be what they called the end of times. It was so misinterpreted by people in our culture, meaning the end of existence, but it wasn't that at all. It was really the end of living in a space of linear time and space. So the end of 2012 represented moving from third dimensional awareness of linear time and space into higher awareness, where we start to recognize that every living thing is our brothers and sisters. We might not see that happening now, but actually the seeds of that are happening. I also was very fortunate in 2010 to be able to attend a lecture by the Mayan elders at the United Nations. They were touring in order to talk about the coming end of the cycle and the beginning of the new cycle. And they basically said that we are going to shift into a new cycle, but how we get there is up to every individual. How we each individually take steps towards that is based on our own awareness. So somebody asked the question and said, well, what can we do to heal the planet? What can we do to facilitate this transformational process? And they basically said, work on yourself. Wake up every morning, meditate, and work on yourself. So what does that even mean? It means that we can start to access higher awareness by meditating into a higher frequency of awareness. So if you work with a teacher, that's really the best, or if you listen to guided meditations, you can be taken into a space that is transpersonal, that is beyond the personal, where we start to realize that we're connected to every living thing. In shamanism, they talk about the ordinary world and the non-ordinary world. And the ordinary reality is that of everyday third dimensional reality. You know, it's this sofa that I'm sitting on, and it's the room that I'm in, and it's, you know, how you live your life in everyday life. And that's the ordinary world. But when we step into the non-ordinary, the shamans believe it's just as real as our ordinary world. And we can actually work on healing ourselves and others in that space. This is the home of the ancestors, the home of our guides and teachers, and the place where we can journey on a path of spiritual initiation so that we can realize ourselves as multidimensional beings. Now, it used to be in the past that to study shamanism, you would have to do vision quests. You would have to climb up the mountain and sit there. You would have to fast. But consciousness is changing really quickly. So even in the Mayan calendar, they talked about the last 20 years of the calendar, 1992 through 2012, where consciousness would be awakening. It would be the prelude to the golden age, where we can start to realize through conscious awareness that we are all interconnected. What's so interesting about this to me is that science is catching up. Science and medicine is catching up to what spiritual traditions have known for eons. In science, you know, we hear about the field of epigenetics, where they're finding out that there's energy that surrounds the cell, and that the expression of health or disease is based in that energy. In ancient traditions of Hinduism, of shamanism, they talked about the energy field that surrounds the body, and how if we change the energy, it filters down into the body, into the mind, into our emotions. This is the basis of homeopathy. This is where we learn that if we change the frequency to a higher frequency, the lower resonates with the higher and not the other way around. So how does that relate to what we're going through now? We've been going through chaos on our planet between the COVID-19 virus and racial issues coming to the surface, one dovetailing the other. And I believe not by chance. In the history of our planet, in order for evolution to happen, chaos precedes it. We have to be unhappy with what we have in order to make a change. So if you look closely, the COVID virus has forced us to self-isolate, to create a distance between us and the ones we love, but not just to protect ourselves. It's about caring for other human beings. This virus has no boundaries in terms of where we are on the planet. So we could be in the United States, we can be in Europe, we can be in China, we can be in India, we could be anywhere on the planet. And our struggle unites us in terms of our experience. We start to realize we're not all so different and that there are commonalities that really draw us together. So here in the United States, we see people are wearing masks and some people are not wearing masks. Some people feel that it's their right not to wear a mask, and others feel like it's really doing a caring thing for themselves, their families, and others around them by wearing a mask. We continuously come face to face with that question: are we in this alone, or are we in this with a united community? There's an opportunity here to look at yourself. What drives you? What makes you make your decisions at this point in time, and what's been transforming in you? This is a real opportunity for us to step back and for us to look at ourselves and say, what needs to change? What needs to transform? How do we become the truest version of our authentic self in the midst of a pandemic? It's not easy because some are really filled with fear and others are on the front lines and they're fighting for the lives of others. It's been a very chaotic time where we get to see what we're really made of. I do know people, as a therapist, I know people who are starting to realize themselves differently. They're developing greater awareness, and others who are huddling in fear, and others who aren't thinking much at all because their job is to get out there on the front lines. So we all need to take a step back and say, where are we in this? And where are we in relation to the other person? As soon as we say to ourselves, look at what they are doing, and they are different than me or us, then there's separation. There's duality right there. These are the rules and the lessons of the old modality, the old way of being in the earth in third dimensional awareness. But when we can step back and say, wait a minute, we really are interconnected. And I care not just about myself and my family, but I care about my neighbor, I care about my community, I care about my planet. That's a step in an evolutionary process as a human species. So this COVID virus can catapult us into a new awareness. And how we get there, as the Mayans said, is up to us. It could be stressful and difficult and filled with chaos, or we can step back and we can look at ourselves. During this period of time, I've been offering free meditations on Zoom on Friday evenings for those who want to join and follow me into a different awareness, a different vibrational space, and then utilize that in their everyday world. So, as I said, some are changing, some are still in fear, some are rebelling. It's really a time where we are seeing the shadow aspects of our planet coming to the surface. And I'm not saying any of this with any kind of judgment, because this has to happen for change to occur. And so now, on the heels of this, a black man is killed by a white policeman, and it reverberates around the planet, but differently than ever before. New conversations are starting, dialogues are happening, and people are looking at themselves to look at what part of them has been taught to be racist in our world without even being aware. Even those that say, I'm not racist, I embrace everybody, We live on this planet, we live in this world, and there has been certain ways of being that we're just exploring within ourselves. In my lifetime, I've never seen this before, where the dialogue is about who am I as a person and who am I in relation to the whole issue of racism, and how is my black or brown or white brother different or the same as me. It's a very unique time. So I encourage all of you to take that step back, to wake up in the morning, to do some deep breaths, to do some meditation. Find a meditation that you like, whether it's with a teacher or on the internet. It's hard to do meditation by yourself. Let somebody lead you into those higher frequencies and start to explore yourself differently as a human being, as our species evolves on this amazing journey of transformation. Aho.